Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome. Welcome to MazzaMedia. It's Thursday night, August 28th. It's getting darker out there earlier, ladies and gentlemen. And it's been a heck of a summer. It really has. But unfortunately, for me, I always hate when summer ends. It's always the most, to me, this is always when I always get a little upset with life. I'm like, no, don't end summer. Don't go. Don't end. Don't start getting darker earlier. I don't want it to get colder out there. I don't want to have to start wearing a light jacket again. All that stuff. It's always the worst part of the year for me. I hate it. Even though I love fall. What's funny is I actually love fall. I love fall to death, but I just hate having to see the summer go by and end. That's always, for me, the most frustrating part of the year as well. It's like I love fall. I love football. I love apple crisp. I love pumpkins. I love all that good stuff I do, but it's so tough to let go of summer because it's like the peak time of the year, especially July. And I'm one of those crazy people that's out walking 3.5 miles when it's 90 plus degrees out. I got all kinds of water in my pack and everything, and I'm good to go. I'm kind of that kind of person. But Halloween's great. The movies are great in October. Definitely love it. No question about it. But we're here live tonight here on YouTube. Karen Reed's back today on Howie Carr's show with attorney Alan Jackson, making his second appearance on that show today. And it was a very interesting show to watch this evening. I got to catch it this evening. I was actually getting chased by bats tonight in the backyard. I was outside talking on the phone with one of my buddies, and all of a sudden I'm like, man, I think a bird just went by. He's like, really? I'm like, no, serious. I think a bird. I'm like, this bird must not be used to me being out in the yard or something this late at night or something. But a bird just whizzed by. All of a sudden I realize it happens again and again. All of a sudden I'm like, oh, dude, that's a bat. That's a bat circling me right now. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. And I think it was circling me constantly. I just couldn't get away with it. So, damn bats. It's like, I was one moment away from, basically getting bitten, having a thing land on me like, and, then just bite me or something like that. That would have been horrible. That would have definitely been no good, but I'm bat bite free. I am rabies free. I'm not going to turn into a man bat or something like that. You're going to see me, up on a building or something. But this neighborhood usually doesn't get bats. That's the thing. So I have a theory about where they are, but there's two of them. I thought they were birds. Unfortunately, the game changed, and it turned out to be a totally different situation. This was a bad attack on Mazza tonight, so it wasn't good. So I ended up fleeing to safety. Didn't want to get those rabies. Didn't want to go to the hospital tonight. Wanted to mark myself safe from a bad attack. So I was happy about that. And that's my story for today. And chicken wing. People have questions about the chicken wings. The last time I had chicken wings was on Monday. I may have chicken wings tomorrow, or I may have chicken wings Saturday. So if you're keeping track of my chicken wing eating habits, we're looking at tomorrow or Saturday as the next time that I have chicken wings. Well, Monday night after work, I made chicken wings for dinner. Buffalo with celery sticks and blue cheese. My latest cooking idea is homemade vanilla ice cream loaded with M&Ms, Reese's peanut butter cups, Kit Kats, Oreos, and Butterfingers, and it would be called Extreme Vanilla Ice Cream. That is the latest idea in my head right now in terms of culinary related things. Homemade ice cream. It's amazing how simple it is. It's just basically heavy cream, some can of carnation milk that I have to double check, and then vanilla extract, of course. You got to have vanilla extract. So I'm pondering that. We'll see. I may make extreme ice cream soon. We will see, ladies and gentlemen. But tonight, we're going to be talking about the Howie Carr show and him having Karen Reed and attorney Alan Jackson on the show. And this has drawn some controversy, this show today. Aiden Carney had reached out and had requested to take part in the program. He had not. Yeah, it's unhealthy, Darcy, but I eat healthy most of the time. So I'm thinking I can get away with it. Jeno, thank you for getting me the Mike's Defense link. It's pinned to the top of the chat. So Aiden's link for Turtle Boy and Mike's link for the Young Jerks. is all together. It's all in one link pinned to the top of the chat. But Jen, if you want to keep throwing that link in for them every so often, be my guest. You're free to do whatever you want. You're awesome. And the Young Jerks raid's coming in. We're seeing it here. The Buzzsaw. The Buzzsaw's in the house. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you. He's like Mazza, the Maz, the myth, the myth, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend. Oh, the Maz, the myth, the legend. Okay, got it. So yeah, controversy. Basically, the team from Howie Carr had said that they weren't able to accommodate Aiden in the studio, and some thoughts for many people as well, in terms of, should Aiden have been invited? But I don't know what the arrangement was. So that's why I don't really speak in terms of offering an opinion on it, or my because I really don't have a stance. I usually just ask questions like, was there like maybe just like a 1-to-1 agreement between Karen's defense team and Howie Carr? I don't know, but that might have been what it was. But I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't know why Aiden. I can't speak to why Aiden wasn't invited. I can't speak to why Aiden wasn't mentioned. I can't. I thought Karen and Alan Jackson did a great job on the show nonetheless. And they gave a nice shout out, to everyone, essentially. Many feel that Aiden should have gotten a personal shout out. But on behalf of myself, just to speak for myself, I was happy with a universal shout out, but I can definitely see why many wanted Aiden, at the very least, to get a shout out. But I won't take sides. I don't take too many sides when these things happen, but I see both sides. I see like Aiden's side. I see a lot of people's sides that Aiden should get a shout out for all he did. But I won't go either way on it. I hate to be a little bit more of a pacifist in that sense, but I just try to support, everybody in that sense when it comes to subjects like these. So that's kind of my take on it. But it was great to see Karen today. It was great to see Alan Jackson today. It was great to see an inside the studio interview. Mike Crawford, who's in the chat right now, is on the Grace Curley show, typically every so often. So be sure to look out for any updates from him when he's on Grace Curley's show on that same network. And then Mike Crawford of the Young Jerks Defense Fund is pinned to the top of the chat tonight. Also, Turtle Boys link is pinned to the top of the chat. So the first link is Mike Young Jerks. The second defense fund is for Turtle Boy Aiden Carney. If you guys want to make a donation to them, please feel free. Mike is definitely looking for support tonight as well. He's got a lot he's up against, and tonight I wanted to show him some support as well. Number two, because he kind of gave me a shout out to in a show forward to the audience here. So welcome if you guys tuned into the Young Jerks. He had Howie Carr on tonight. He also had the mighty Mark Betterow, basically back from vacation. It looks like back on his show. And it looked like it was a great time. I caught bits and pieces of it. I had some things to do here and there tonight. When I wasn't being chased by a bat in the backyard tonight, or two bats, I survived. But, I got to tune into quite a bit of the episode tonight. I caught the whole Howie Carr portion. I caught bits and pieces of Mark Betterow's appearance. I'll probably catch up some replay at some point tomorrow night if I can. So, again, Jeno, moderator here as well. She's going to be posting the Defense Fund link for Mike as well throughout the night, and Aiden Carney as well, just to help them and all that. The Wilbur Theater is an event that's coming up very, very soon in September. Aiden Carney will have a major show there. Tickets are still available on Ticketmaster if you're interested in that. It's the Wilbur Theater in Boston. I believe there's a parking garage right next door or building two over from the Wilbur Theater. And I believe you can actually pay for parking or buy a ticket in advance. So if that's something you're considering going to, take into consideration parking locations and all that as well. And Auntie Deb will basically, essentially, I think it's the host for that evening. Should be a great evening. I'm sure it's going to be a full sellout. Looks like they're having some raffles as well. Jen Altman has been promoting a raffle giveaway and all that as well. So that's the latest on that. So tonight we're going to go over the Howie Carr show. We're going to go right through the interview. We're going to play it here tonight, and this should be a good time. So let's play it. I have a lot of opinions. There's definitely a couple situations here moments here, I should say, in this interview where I definitely have some opinions. I think, I don't know, I kind of like, I'm going to go with that view tonight. I'm going to go with that because we don't need to really, we can see the gentleman here. It's not like it's reading or something where I need to be too close to the screen. So I want my picture just to be a little larger tonight. How's this look? What do you think? I won't take it personal. But what do you guys prefer? This view or that view? Well, actually, let's go with this view. I like this one better. Just visually, I like it. So, all right, let me get a quick drink of water. And cough. Let me clear my throat. All right, there we go. All right, let's play this thing up. Let's get going here. So, Alan Jackson visiting the Howie Carr show, and Karen Reed is present for 2 segments here. I'm going to be stopping and going a lot on this, just so you know. This is going to be an analytical based show, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to offer my opinion. So if you're the kind of person that kind of wants to watch this through, this won't be a show that's really beneficial for you in a sense of, if you're hanging on every next word that they're going to say, I might pause it at any time, offer my opinion. So it's going to kind of be like that all show long, just to let you know. So I just want to keep you guys posted on that. So here we go. Let's get this thing playing. Howie Carr.
But
right.
And so what is that what you're back here for?
Well, I can say this, I'm back for a reason. I didn't, it's not just a pleasure tour. So I'm back here for a reason. We've met with the legal team back here, dealing with the civil issue. There's obviously a lot to unpack where that's concerned. So we had and will continue to have significant meetings about that. What Karen's next options, what her options are in general, but what her next moves might be. And we're considering all options. And in terms of the civil case itself, I'm not going to disclose everything that we've discussed, but certainly nothing is off the table. I can put it that way.
Well, let's pause it right there. I got my first thought on this thing. So maybe I'll just go like this when I talk. Yeah, that works. Maybe I'll do this when I talk. I can do something like this. So that will be good. And there's an advertisement too about this lady in her Sunday heels or something on the right there, which is weird, but whatever. Sorry. But yeah, I think that's the big thing we're all wondering. What is this defense team doing behind closed doors? What are they planning to do? Are they going to file a state-based suit or a federal-based suit? I'm really intrigued in seeing what they're going to do. But I think this is great. They've had some time now to get away from the whole aspect of the trial, and they're now able. And I don't like that thing as well. I don't want to delete it. There we go. That was bothering me too. Yeah. They're getting away from the trial now. Now they can start to say, okay, we can kind of get out of defense mode a little bit. They got to defend themselves against the incoming civil suit, but they can also start to look at outgoing lawsuits as well now and start to get after, whomever they want to go after legally and lawfully. And I'm extremely fired up. And there's plenty of time. If they want to wait 6 months, get going next spring or something, or get going in the early winter, they can. It depends on when they want to do that. It's up to them. I'd imagine they've had a lot of ideas for a long time, but I think it's great that Alan Jackson and several other attorneys are going to be involved in the civil suit as well. It's going to be great, especially for the civil attorneys, to have Alan Jackson and others' expertise and all their knowledge right on the inside of all that.
State or federal?
Yes.
So there you go. State or federal, red or white wine. What do you want? They got all these weird advertisements on Rumble here. All these feet advertisements. No more feet. No more pictures of feet on this show. Please, Rumble, stop it. Stop it. It needs to stop. But no, they got a lot of options here, which is great. And I like the fact, I would love the idea of a federal-based approach to all this. I would absolutely love federal just to get out of the state of Massachusetts a little bit, because it's been a little, as you know. Back to it. He's like, both. Red or white wine? Both.
I don't know. At this point, that's part of what we're deciding. That there's options that we have, both state and federal options, and we're exploring all those options. So we'll see.
And I know that the O'Keefe case, the civil damages that the O'Keefe family is seeking against Karen and the bars. I mean, it doesn't seem like they got much of a case against her since she's been acquitted, and since the experts agree that that the car didn't hit John O'Keefe.
Right.
So she doesn't have much of a case, but you've got to still defend against that, and you're in Plymouth County.
Right. I'm not worried about the county where we're at. I'm Plymouth. It could be any place. I really don't care. I think you're right. I think you hit the nail right on the head. They're going to have. I'll put it this way. I think the civil action that's been filed against Karen, they're going to have a very, very, very significant uphill battle.
Yeah, that inspires a lot of confidence in me. That comment that they're going to have an uphill battle, and they are. And we have another weird ad on Rumble every single time. This one now is about American hero. One berry kills cholesterol. So if you're interested in killing your cholesterol, just have one berry, according to that ad. We'll make fun of the ads all night if we have to. Rumble ads are going to be made fun of all night. It's going to be what we do here tonight. But hey, this is a great situation. And like you said, they're really confident about this incoming civil suit. They are very confident. That's great news. And I think it's great that the trial went favorably for Karen. And this all kind of came to a close, because now it's like in a civil suit, oh, this whole thing was thrown out. No one can prove that she did it. 24 jurors said, hell no. They said, hell no. All right.
Very obviously, the jury has spoken.
Right.
It's not like there wasn't an enormous amount of scrutiny that was put on through all the evidence against her, and 2 times, not once, 2 times, jurors determined that there was no collision.
So there you go. He says it right there. 24 jurors, 2 juries. I mean, that can't be said enough. I mean, again, with this ad, enough of the ads. Stop it, Rumble. But that can't be said enough. 24 jurors. I mean, even if there were 24 juries and there were 24 trials, it still would have been the same result every time. It would have been a hung jury, or it would have been a not guilty. It's absolutely so true. And I think that's something that cannot be said enough. 24 jurors over 2 juries over 2 trials both said, nah, we're not going to convict this woman of any crime whatsoever. And that was huge. It was absolutely huge. And it was a great, great thing. And I think that's, in a civil case, I wonder, how much they're going to sprinkle that in there, and how often are they going to sprinkle that in there. By the way, she was acquitted. By the way, this went to trial twice, and they couldn't convict her either time. Both times it went to trial, and they couldn't convict her. Let me step back a bit and correct myself. But yeah, they couldn't convict her on 2 tries. And there's no jury in the world. Like I said, if it was 24 trials, it would have been the same result. Karen Read would still be walking free. It was a money issue at this point. It was a war of money. And we raised over $1 million as an entire movement of supporters for Karen Read. And Michael Morrissey, the DA of Norfolk County, had to go ask, if I had $1 million, he had to go out there and ask for $1 million to fight Karen Read. They couldn't even afford a second trial, but they were trying to push it. Please give me $1 million. Ridiculous. Absolutely insane.
I don't think people think about that enough. But you mentioned it in the first interview, and right. I think it bears repeating. She was a victim of double jeopardy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%. And we made that pitch not only to Judge Cannone, but
all the way up to the Supreme
Court. Right? Yeah, and we believe that we were correct. I'll go to my grave believing that we were correct. I don't know why the appellate departments that heard this case didn't agree. I'm a little gobsmacked by that. I'll remain confused by that. But look, that just gave us that much more impetus.
So I'm going to pause it here for a second, and another weird ad's probably going to pop up from, there's the next weird ad. This one's about trick that helps restore vision so fast you won't believe it. So this picture here from Rumble, this latest ad, basically features a guy rubbing poison ivy in his face or something. So we're going to make fun of these ads all night. All night, we're going to make fun of these weird Rumble ads. We're not going to stop. Swerve shows in the house. What's going on, brother? But yeah, that's another huge point about this here is that, the appellate court was something I thought when they went that route. I thought when they went to that Supreme Court last fall, I thought they were walking out the door saying, this is going back into Bev's court. You're going to bring that jury back in from the first trial. You're going to pull that jury, and you're going to find out exactly how they voted. And when I was watching, we were all watching that. We caught the replays or whatever. It looked like it was going to go in the defense, Karen Reed's defense team's favor. It did. It looked like it was all going to play out for them favorably. It looked like it was all going to work out. This was going to be a big win for Karen Reed and her defense team. And that second trial would have been all about lesser charges or the second charge, whatever. And that would have been it. And it would have been a really quick trial. But I was just as shocked as anybody, as we all were. And Alan Jackson saying it too. Alan Jackson saying, I will take this to my grave, that I cannot believe that this Supreme Court in Massachusetts didn't believe that the defense was right. And they actually had Judge Beverly Cannoni's back. And this thing went to a second trial. And every charge was still on the table there. Basically insane. It's ridiculous. The verdict slip. Everything was on the verdict slip again. It was insane. And their defense did it. I mean, her defense team did everything right. Everything right. Every step they took was right. It's just when you're up against whatever these forces were that they were up against, it just causes a lot of problems sometimes. And it's really unfortunate. But at the end of the day, good triumphed over evil. And that's exactly what it was, folks. Good triumphing over evil.
It's just that much more motivation to go back a second time, given the fact that there was going to be a second trial, and make sure that she got acquitted the second time as well. But there's no question that that's not even open to dispute.
Right.
That the jurors came back with every charge and allegation that was associated with striking John O'Keefe. She was acquitted the first time, and she was acquitted the second time.
So how much, we've dealt with these cases of frame ups and people actually going to prison. You had the 4 guys that were framed by the FBI. They spent 35 years in prison. They got $102 million, I believe. You have Freddie Whitechel, who was framed in this county as a favor for Whitey Bulger to take him off the street. He won a $33 million judgment that was tossed out, most of it. Then he won $15 million from the town of Braintree. I'm just laying these out. How much do you think Karen can get?
Oh boy, that's a great question.
The question is, how much is a life worth? How much is her reputation worth? How much is her professional reputation worth? Her professional reputation, she's lost all of that. She had to sell her house. She had to sell her car.
Yeah.
She hasn't driven in 4 years.
Yeah.
Her reputation has been dragged through the mud because of these allegations. And these are things that no citizen, no righteously should ever have to suffer. So how much is that worth? How much value, Howie, would you put on being in her shoes for 10 minutes, let alone 4 years?
Right. So how many, let's ask the audience here, how much money realistically, and we got another guy wiping the poison ivy on his face again, how much money do you think Karen Reed should go for? $34 million is the first person. I would say a minimum of $10 million. I'm just throwing out dollars here. If she gets a minimum of $10 million, that's like $2.5 million a year for all this nonsense. I mean, the price of her house, all the attorney fees, that's all factored in, right? And then, $100 million, billion, I don't know how realistic it could be, but it's got to be, it's going to be a lot of money. Alan's not going to say it, I don't think, because either they haven't they haven't come to determine what they're going to ask for, and all that. Yeah, we're going to get to the phone back and the car vehicle back soon. But I'd like to see Karen Reed walk away with no less than $10 million. No less. That's minimum. That's not maximum. That's minimum, I'm saying. $10 million minimum. Someone says $36 million. Definitely. A lot of money is owed to her for all of this. The book deal is going to make her a lot of money and all that as well. The book that she puts out eventually will make a lot of money, but I'm saying $10 million minimum. Someone said, Linda says, I'm going to reasonably say $15 million. Yeah, exactly. How about $1 million for every month from January 2022 to June 2025? How about $1 million every month? for that entire duration. $1 million for every month she had to endure this. So January 2022 all the way to now. Someone wants to do the math on that for me. How many months were there between January 2022 and June 2025? So actually, I could probably shorthand the math here. Let's see. 36 plus another. $41 million. It's about $41 million. I would say if it was $1 million a month. So it'd basically be, yeah, if they're $41 million. So 3 years worth would be about $12 million a year plus the additional months from January, February, March, April, May. It's another 5. So you're looking at $41 million. That's a good idea. Hey, Karen, her defense team, if you guys are out there, I don't think they're watching, but if they were, how about $41 million minimum? Yeah. How about that? $1 million a month. And Aiden should get about $1 million for every so often the time he spent in jail as well. He should be getting $1 million. I think I once told Aiden $1 million a day is what you want. $1 million a day in jail. Every 6 to 60 million. He got 60 million. I mean, Karen probably wants to go for more, right? But we'll see. We'll see how it plays. These people deserve money for this.
That's the question. And that's going to be a question for the jury. And we're going to decide what we think is appropriate to ask for. But I don't think there's any amount of money. There's not an amount of money that I can think of that would reasonably compensate her.
She wasn't in prison per se, but I mean, it's kind of a prison that she's been in, isn't it?
Well, to your point, per se, no, she wasn't in prison per se. She was in jail twice. She was jailed twice, twice too many times. But she was in a prison of the making of the Massachusetts State Police, the Norfolk DA's office, Michael Morrissey and his henchmen. That was a prison in and of itself, and far worse and far too long than anything she should have ever had to suffer. She just simply didn't have anything to do with the death of John O'Keefe.
Right.
And there's a lot of folks out there who know that.
And not only did she have nothing to do with the death of John O'Keefe, but she had, yeah, good point, actually. The cost of her house, car, 401k, RRA's annual salary for every year she could work. Yeah, so every year up till 65, 70. Great point. I like that, actually. Add that on. That gets us well over $50 million. But yeah, they got this weird ad again. But yeah, all the time, she went to jail. Twice to jail. Absolutely insane. Let me rewind this just a bit.
Henchmen.
Yeah, Michael Morrissey and his henchmen. I mean, basically they came off as like a cover squad for the state of Massachusetts or Norfolk County. And we're just doing whatever they wanted to do out there. Well, let's arrest her. Let's go to her house. Let's text about her however we want to say. Let's say awful things about her. I mean, to say things about her health is absolutely sickening. Okay, that is absolutely sickening and unbecoming of any human being, let alone someone that's a police officer. I'm not trying to be overly, I can't believe he said. I'm not trying to be too much like that, but think about it. I mean, can you imagine getting arrested by someone and the officer's poking fun at your health situation or the way you look or anything like that, or describing your personality, in the way that he explained it? Come on now. It's not acceptable at all in any way, shape, or form. It's not acceptable. It's disgusting. And what they've done here in Norfolk County is beyond absurd, and it's actually pretty scary.
That was a prison in and of itself, and far worse and far too long than anything she should have ever had to suffer. She just simply didn't have anything to do with the death of John O'Keefe, and there's a lot of folks out there who know that.
So, you can sue, I believe, the state police, and
Correct.
You can sue individuals, but can you sue the district attorney, Michael Morrissey?
That is a knottier legal question, not KNOTTY. That's a more difficult legal question. District attorneys, by and large, and here in Massachusetts, enjoy something called qualified immunity. So
yeah.
The question becomes whether or not there is a legal standard that we can overcome to actually prosecute a civil case against them. But generally, the answer is no. They enjoy an immunity, both Michael Morrissey himself as well as his deputies or assistant DAs.
Yeah, that's awful. That's the worst part. Yeah, it is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. It's a shame.
Yeah. It's absolutely. It's absolutely unfortunate because that's the problem sometimes. They get this other weird ad. What's this ad? The vitamin link with clogged lips, or whatever the heck it is. We're making fun of ads all night here on MazzaMedia. But yeah, that's what's so unfortunate about all this, is that individual can basically do whatever he wants. He's like the villain in Lethal Weapon 2, diplomatic immunity. It's just like that. And that's the situation, is that Morrissey, someone just said, the judge cannot be sued, cannot be held liable for any way, shape, or form for what's going on. They have that level of covering, which is disappointing, because sometimes people out there really want to go after a DA and confront them in court and have some things to say, and try to have their day in court. But it's too bad. It really is.
It's a shame. I'd love the opportunity to have that discussion,
I bet you would, and I don't deny
in
it.
court,
Doubt it.
in a civil case,
Yeah.
about what his conduct consisted of and what his deputies'
Right.
S' conduct consisted of. as
Right.
well.
Right.
Now,
Right.
are you going to get if in a potential civil case, whether in state or federal court, are you going to get access to all of these emails and texts from the cloud that we're already reading about?
We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. That's certainly something that we're focusing on heavily in the civil case. The information that we didn't get in the criminal case through requests and demands that we made to Justice Cannone, it opens up a whole new batch of possibilities for us to get some of that data in the civil case.
So
They brought the civil case, right? You don't get to, it's a sword and a shield, right? So you don't get to bring a civil case and then hide behind some sort of anonymity and trying to suppress the evidence that we need to properly defend against that civil case. And I can guarantee you that civil case will be righteously defended.
Yeah.
Righteously defended. And that means getting every single scrap of information that we're entitled to and that we did not get during the criminal case.
So think about this for a second. Like, think about Aiden's case right now too. Aiden, the latest Poison Ivy ad again. I keep showing the same ad. Think about like all the money. Not all the money, all the information, I should say, that's out there that in Karen Reed's trial, like even going into the second trial, for example, how much more information did this defense team learn about that they implemented into the second trial that they did not have access to during the first trial, right? So when they did that first trial, they had less information on hand to work from than they had going into the second trial. So they were already at an informational disadvantage from that standpoint. And then you look at the second trial, right? They might have had some more information. They might have got some more info, whatever, right? But at the same particular time, they still don't have all the information to this very day. And even since that second trial ended, they've still obtained more information since that second trial already. They already know more today than they knew a couple months ago during the second trial. And who knows how long it's going to take. How long is it going to take to get all this information available to this defense team? And because they're so slow. And it's absolutely ridiculous. It's amazing to me that you can be tried for murder in this state, perhaps across this entire country and every other state, and all the information that you need or you want is not necessarily readily available to you or your defense team. That's extremely disturbing. That is extremely shocking. Can you imagine if Karen Reed went to jail during the first or second trial and then her defense team learned information afterwards that they didn't have access to during the trial? You know how insane that sounds? That sounds absolutely insane. And this same thing, mind you, is happening right now during Turtle Boy's hearings and probably in his trial. Just the other day, Aiden posted a screenshot confronting Ken Mello, basically saying, well, when are you going to give us all the information we're looking for? When are you going to give us this? When are you going to give us that? And it's been a battle in both trials, both cases, I should say, Aiden's and Karen's, to get information from these people who repeatedly show up to court, don't have the information that the defense teams are looking for, kick the can down the road, twiddle their toes, take their time, and on it goes. And it's very concerning and very alarming that we know for a fact 2 individuals are going through this with I would call it limited information. And if not for such strong attorneys on both defense teams, who knows what situation that these individuals would be in today. And that's very, very shocking. Very shocking. And it's very, very alarming.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you've already seen some of it. I mean, the fact that that crazy woman, the woman with the hat on her head, they as soon as they see what she's going to say, Morrissey emails back, hire this woman immediately! Exclamation point! All capital letters.
Right. There's those emails are revelatory. I haven't read all of them. We haven't seen all of them. It's yet to be seen how much of that we get, but there's quite a few revelations, I think, that are going to be had in those emails. Michael Morrissey was very, very, I'll put it this way, he was very involved in the decision making that ended up putting Karen Read in these very compromised positions, being prosecuted.
He's run for district attorney many times. He's raised $200 from one guy, a House counsel for a corrupt speaker who was convicted of a felony in 11 months. He's raised one contribution in 11 months. You think he's running for re-election? I
hope not. I hope not. For the sake of the community, for the sake of Massachusetts, for Christ's sake. I mean, no, I hope he's not. I don't know what's in Michael Morrissey.
Karen is smiling. I just have to point that out.
You know what's horrible sometimes about politics, and it doesn't matter what political party you support, what political party you hate, is a lot of times when someone from that opposite party or that other candidate that you want out, it's like when I used to hate on David Stern, the NBA commissioner. And I used to always say, I can't wait till David Stern is no longer the NBA commissioner. And then Adam Silver takes over, and I start griping about Adam Silver all the time. It's one of those situations where you wonder, it's like, geez, well, I want Michael Morrissey out the door and out of here. And then all of a sudden it turns into, guess what? Somebody else comes in, and then 5-10 years from now, we're finding out this person is just as bad or worse than Morrissey is. And that's sometimes the scary thing about people that hold office or powers of position. Sometimes you think, well, hopefully, we get him out of there. That's it. It's over. And then, someone else shows up that basically is Morrissey 2.0, and you realize, oh, we got him out of there. We can celebrate tonight. And then all of a sudden you realize like a year later that new person's just as bad as they are. And that's one of the sad state of affairs, in our reality. And this is universal regardless of politics, regardless of country, regardless of county. That this is the way it is all over the place. It's just the way of life. But it would be great to see him out of there. Something tells me he's not going to run again.
Yeah, I cannot imagine a circumstance in which he thinks, number one, that he could win, and number two, that he would actually be an effective leader for the community. That's the job, right? That is at the end of the day, it's not about you feathering your nest, Mr. Morrissey, right? It's about really doing that which is the heart of community service. You're there to represent the community members. The community members don't want you. They just don't. And I think that's
we're not that into you anymore, Mike Morrissey.
It's one way to break up with him. Yeah.
I'm just going to let Michael Morrissey know that we're just not that into you, sir. Thank you. Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Okay, we're going to take a break, and then Karen Read will be back with us, 844-500-42.
Families will be the opposite of the one that got
links to come, but I do.
All right, so now Karen Read joins the set, and she looks very happy here, very positive, best we've seen her ever. In terms of just her, you can just tell she's kind of glowing. There's a glow to her. There's a glow to her here. You can definitely tell there's a lot of positive energy, and rightfully so. Good to see her.
I want to check in with Karen Read, and thanks so much for coming in, Karen.
Thanks,
we really
Howie.
Appreciate it. What's your post-trial life like?
It's not quite as I expected. I was expecting a switch to be flipped. That was the opposite of the one that got flipped on me at 6 a.m. on January 29th, 2022. But it's been more like a dimmer that the lights are coming on a little brighter each week. there's moments I have every day that have these little epiphanies of, wow, this is the first time I've done fill in the blank in the last 4 years that I wasn't living with this nightmare.
Were you even allowed to leave the state?
I was, yeah.
Yeah,
I
you were.
didn't have any travel restrictions.
Okay, so now, but you lost your house. You had to sell your house.
Yeah, I sold my house between the 2 trials. I was scraping to afford one trial, and that was with the help of my attorneys to just piece this defense together. But then to face it a second time, I was not financially prepared at all. So I knew I was hanging.
So I'm just going to cut there for a sec. She says she's not financially prepared. So there's your evidence right there. There's weird ads again. There's your evidence right there that Karen Reed financially was in dire straits, right? Was financially struggling, as anybody would. How expensive is it to defend yourself in one trial that was as elaborate as this one was? And not only the trial, but all the hearings. All the hearings, then the trial, then all the hearings again, the appellate court hearings, another trial, right? That's insane. This woman had a very wonderful house, very nice house, not a cheap house, right? Had to sell that just to get money. So you basically had Karen Reed scraping by for dollars to pay for her defense. All the while, Michael Morrissey's asking for $1 million to try to put this lady behind bars. It was a battle of money. And this is why I am proud of you guys, and I'm proud of myself and everybody else that donated money, did fundraisers, bought popcorn, did standouts, raised awareness. This whole thing, even though we were always debating with all of the people that were anti-Karen Reed about whether she did it or not, and even though Karen and her defense team were always battling the prosecution and even the judge, none of that at the end of the day really mattered, because it was really all about money the entire time. It was about how much money Norfolk County had to continue trying her, and it was about Karen Reed and how much money she had to keep defending herself from these people railroading her and throwing her in bars. And it all came down to dollars at the end of the day. It's like anything. If your sports team is not that good, it's probably because you're not spending enough money to get the players in there that can help win you the game. And if you spend the money, just like the Green Bay Packers just signed Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys in a trade today, you're getting a player that can play really good on your football team. When the Celtics get, Kevin Garnett, trade for him, and got to pay his contract, you're going to win a championship because you're paying for it, right? It's the same thing in the law world. If you could afford a guy like Alan Jackson and Liza Little and David Yannetti, and somebody like Robert Alessi comes in pro bono, I think all these attorneys were pro bono the second trial, I've heard. Now you can defend yourself, because realistically, the money will take care of your concerns. And when you have the team acquired, your team can now go into that courtroom and beat these people. And it wasn't an easy thing, as hard as this was. And I think that's why for all of us, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but for me, fundraisers became one of the driving forces of my show, especially in the first 6 months of this year. That became like my drive: fundraiser. I think for a while there, every show I did was a fundraiser, right? Because it just became the thing, because it was all about driving money into Karen Reed's defense, so she would be financially equipped to stop these people. And here you have her saying on news here, and some things say, well, she's richer than she think, she's just trying to get money, blah, 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 blah. Well, then why did she sell her house then? Let me ask you that question. Then why did she sell her house if she had so much money? If she had all this money, she would have. If she was making money hand over fist, because all the anti-Karen Reed people used to say it all the time. She's pocketing everybody's money. She's spending it on elaborate dinners. Oh, that's all you ever heard. That's all you ever heard. But yet, she had to sell her own house, didn't she? Had to sell her house. Couldn't afford to keep her house, so she was profiting money off of all the money we raised. Then why did she sell her house for? And it's in that evidence where you sit there and you point the finger back at anti-Karen Reed and you tell them, guess what? Guess what? She had to sell her house because she needed the money to defend herself, which tells me regardless of the money that we raised for Karen, she still needed that money from her house to defend herself anyways. It's a big thought. It's a big thought. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate that greatly. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate that. We're going to get to her job momentarily. It does come up during this during the show as well.
Hang on to my house, but after the first trial, I realized I just can't.
So,
I mean, you realize when you have to sacrifice to make something happen, to fight for your life, you pull every lever you can. Like I'm going to take to couch surfing. I can't sit on this asset anymore.
so you lost your house, you lost your 2 jobs, right? You had you got a really good job at Fidelity, right?
I had a great job at Fidelity. I've always wanted to be there, and I felt lucky every day that I walked into 245 Summer Street, and I worked with brilliant people. I learned every day, and that job was not just a job. That was my career, and I still miss it.
Yeah.
Is there a chance you could ever get it back?
I don't know. I think I don't know if I can hop back on the commuter rail and walk through South Station every day, and I have other things I need to do.
So let's pause right there. So that's a good point to jump on right now. So yeah, if I were her, I'm just going to say this. And I don't need to tell her this. She already knows this. We don't need to recommend this to Karen. She already knows this. If I'm her, I'm suing. I'm making millions of dollars off those lawsuits. I'm writing books. I'm making millions of dollars off those books. I'm not working a day again in my life unless it's independently, unless it's independently. I would not, and I think the thing about her is like going on a commuter rail every day, going into the city, now you're a public figure. People know you. People have an opinion about you. And there's people out there. I mean, how many times did we do standouts? And you hear some guy, Karen Reed did it. I was in the city of Worcester earlier this year for one of the national standouts we did. And some guy's like, she did it. She did it. Now, can you imagine her being on a commuter rail at Boston at like 7 a.m. in the morning next to some guy? You did it, Karen. You know you did it. That's the killer right there. She's going to be subject to more people than she's really going to want to be around. And it's going to be an uncomfortable situation. Because now, like I said, she's a public figure now. She's never going to go anywhere again in her life, at least in Massachusetts, where she's not going to be recognized. And that's just a fact. That's a cold, hard fact right there, ladies and gentlemen.
In terms of illuminating what I've seen the last 4 years.
Now, so you're living with your parents
Yes.
now, right? And what's that like at this late date?
I consider myself very fortunate that for all I've lost, the things I need, I still have. And I'm lucky. My parents are in their late 70s. I'm lucky I have them. They're smart. They're nurturing and funny. And we watch movies together. We've traveled. We've taken a few trips, the 3 of us together. And I prayed during this ordeal that you can take away, God, whatever needs to be taken away, but let my parents be here on the other side, even for one day. Can I have one day with my parents after an acquittal? And I've had a summer, and we make the most of it. We're going to see them for dinner after this, and I love seeing them every day.
How are they doing? How are Bill and Janet doing?
Let's pause there. So yeah, Bill and Janet, great people. If you guys have ever even seen, let me put it this way: if you guys have seen them, they're just how they are in person. Like when you see them on camera, they're like that in person. Like they're the nicest people, very smart people, very intelligent people. Bill's very, very stoic throughout this whole thing. Nathan, very stoic. Janet, she's very happy, but she's been that loving, caring mother, that we all know and love. If you have a great relationship with your mother or an aunt or anything like that, Janet's just like that. So if you guys have what you see on camera with them is how they are in person and how they are behind, closed doors. I've not bragging here, but I'm just saying I get to have a dinner with them, with a bunch of other people, right? But we got to meet them a little bit. Not get to talk to them much, but you get to meet them a little bit. You realize they're such good people. They're such wonderful people. And they cared. They cared about us too. Janet and Bill cared a lot about us, and they valued all the money we all raised for them. They would admit to, and I don't think they'll be bothered by me sharing this. They've admitted they've watched these shows where we raise money for them, and they're so happy when they hear people like yourselves that were donating money, and happy when it hit 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 in a single show, and when we're absolutely thankful for that. And it was a great thing. It really, really was. And these are wonderful people. And, as we've all seen them in interviews, how upset, I'm not saying like crying, like, oh my God, the world's ending, but just kind of passionately calculated and concerned they were about the idea of what was happening to their daughter. And I'm sure, I'm not going to speak on their behalf. This is not a conversation I ever have with them. I'm just saying, just based on how I view them, I'm confident that, as confident as they were that Karen Reed would be acquitted, it still ripped their hearts every single day to see their daughter go through this. You know what I mean? And I think for, that whole family, they always look good. They always look great. Like every time you see that whole family dress well, look good, arrive in style, they had a great presence, no question about it. But I think a lot of times I think that these were people that were toughening up and rising to the occasion of what they needed to do to fight this thing and fight for their daughter. And I really think, as it would be for any parents that love their daughter, any brother that loved his sister, and any cousin that loved their cousin, that this ripped their hearts apart, and I think a lot of people out there, and it was definitely evidenced by all the people that watched these shows, been out there holding signs, donated money, stood out there when the final verdict was read, that they ultimately all, we all saw it too. We all identified with this. For me, I have sisters, so like Nathan Reed was always like the guy I identified with the most, because I know exactly, I can see this thing, in a sense, like if that was my sister, I would be doing exactly what Nathan Reed was doing. I'd be showing up in court. My parents would be helping my sister out the same way. I'd always be kind of, eye to eye, and I think that's for all of us individually. I think we all related to them, right? In our own way, based on how we see life, based on who we are, based on how we relate to people. I think we all related to the Reed family, right? We all related to them. We all related to those parents. And I think that we felt a personal connection, whether that was just a hello or seeing them on camera or whatever. We all felt a connection to that entire family. And it was an awesome thing. And it was a great thing. It was very great. And, the attorneys, personable, friendly, they were all out there getting it done, impassioned, ready to get this victory. You had attorneys that, often attorneys are seen as people that are just going to make the money, but these guys were out there, and Eliza, lady, were all out there doing the job, passionately out to win the game. Peter Murphy was mentioned. Peter Murphy is amazing. People like Peter Murphy and the people of Canton, they're not like me, where I can just come online and talk, and I live far away from Canton. Okay, there's people that live in Canton that have to deal with a lot of the frontline stuff that was above and beyond what a lot of us had to deal with.
My parents are great. They're the strongest people I know. They're faithful. They're strong, and they have good sense of humor.
You got all your other family. You got your brother, and you got your cousin Kelly.
I've got friends and family and new people that I have come into my life. A lot of support around me at all times.
But did you get your car back yet?
I don't have my car back yet. I don't. I do not have the car.
It's not a lack of trying.
You look at Alan Jackson here. Look at him scratching inside his
family
shirt there.
And new people that
this guy
have come into my life.
Look at Alan.
A lot of support around me at all times.
But did you get your car back yet?
I don't have my car back yet. I don't have.
Alan's like,
I do.
She ain't ever getting that car back. He's like, get her car back. Are you kidding me? Chuck Norris and a banana ad for some reason. He's like, are you kidding me? get her car back. She ain't ever getting that car back. They probably destroyed the damn thing. They probably nuked the thing in a garage somewhere. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Well, the thing got destroyed. Sorry about that. Alan's just like, yeah, never getting that back. No, I'm not. Obviously, she'll get it back. Well, I'm not even confident she'll ever get that vehicle back. Let me just say that. All right, I'll say that. I'm not even confident they're going to give her that vehicle back at all. All right. I'm more confident in the Fed stepping in and making arrests than I am in them giving that fucking SUV back. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh man. That's incredible.
Out of the car.
It's not for lack of trying.
Not for lack of trying, right?
Why won't they give you back your car?
I mean, it's just logistics at this point. There's so much water under the bridge that it would require Adam Lally or somebody from the DA's office reaching out to us. And we know how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to go through customs. The vehicle's actually being shipped to China. The Chuck Norris banana ad again. Chuck Norris, I avoid these three foods like the plague, and it's like cinnamon being dumped on a banana. That's the most weird image ever. Okay. Rumble has some weird ads. But yeah, the thing's being shipped to Indonesia right now, then to Beijing, then to Antarctica, then under the ocean up through Australia. Then it's going to be shipped to Japan. Then it's going to be shipped to Ireland. Then it's going to be shipped to Europe. Then it's going to be shipped to Africa. Then it's going to be taken down to the depths of the Atlantic Ocean near the Titanic, where it's eventually going to be launched out of the water and it's going to land in Seaport in Boston. So that's basically the path that's going to take to get her vehicle back. I don't even think I'm even being extreme here. All right.
So I got to ask you. I read yesterday that they've Elizabeth Banks is going to play you in the movie, and I said, how are they? Is this the same movie that you sold the rights to? What's the story?
You know what, Howie? I probably read that.
So let's talk about that. Elizabeth Banks, very solid actress. I can't remember any movie. What's this ad about? Top cardiologist, quit eating blueberries. I eat blueberries every day, and I'm not going to stop. Screw you. Elizabeth Banks is a pretty solid actress. I remember her from Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. I remember her from The 40-Year-Old Virgin. And then I can't think of any other movie she's ever been in besides that. But she's a pretty solid actress. I think she'll do a pretty solid job. Some people disagree, but that's okay.
At the same time, you did, give or take a couple minutes. I have nothing to do with that. It's not authorized by me in any way. There is a more to this story. I won't say another side. I think that the public at large knows this story. They know the truth, but there's a lot more to it than what I think Elizabeth Banks knows at this point. But I've never spoken to her. This is not the authorized. I have not blessed this. No.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: if it's not too catty a question, she's 52 years old. You're 45. I mean, how do you feel about her, an older woman, playing you?
Well, this happened. This
Alan just
started when Alan
just starts laughing. They should have to say, well, breaking news. We found out that the kid that plays Spider-Man, that's like 25 years old, he's actually going to play Alan Jackson. I was kidding. It would be a little while. But no. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, the age is a little bit, I don't think the age is going to matter. Like if it's an actress that's only a couple of years, 10 years older, they can always, she doesn't look she just looks pretty good for her age, in my opinion. She's still a good looking woman.
She'd be playing someone 10 years younger, which I'm not an ageist in any way, but I would like to see this if it were to come to life on a big screen or on a small screen. I'd love for supporters of mine and people who believe in the truth of this to know more than what Elizabeth Banks knows.
Yeah, good point. Good point. The Hunger Games. I forgot about the Hunger Games. She was so made up in that movie. The blueberry ad again, dude. I'm having blueberries. You're not going to stop me.
And it's really her story to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is Karen Reed's story to tell. It's not Hollywood's story to make up and to fill in blanks that they want to fill in, to take a poetic license, a literary license, movie license.
Well, I think that's the issue with movies, though, is when you watch movies and you watch documentaries, what's this ad about? Claim your free copy of the book of the month. No, we're not going to claim it. Not today. I think that's the issue with the Hollywood movies, is they're always going to play the movie how they want to make it. They're always going to take liberty with it. I remember a movie called The Mothman Prophecies back in 2002 with Richard Gere. It was supposedly based on a true story. And I remember being younger and like, did all this stuff really happen? Then you read what actually happened in the books, and it's a totally different story. And whether or not the Mothman actually existed, I don't know. But, you know, that's another story for a different day. It's kind of a wild movie, but it's enjoyable. But you never know. Like, that's the way it is with a lot of movies. They just kind of make the movies however they want. And they portray the characters however they want. You know, people like us are just going to sit there and say that's inaccurate. They took director's liberty there. They added this plot line. They added this. They added that. You know, that's always going to be a situation too.
Really is Karen Reed's story to tell, and so it is. It's a little bit of a shame that she was never even consulted, never even contacted. Like she said, we read about this.
It was totally new when you read it yesterday.
Yeah. I had heard through the grapevine that she was interested, but I would think she'd have reached out to us. She knows who our contacts are in California. Yeah, we're not hard to find.
That's an interesting comment.
Your next thing is the movie, or what's your next move?
I don't know from day to day what my next move is. I'd like a book out there. There's just a lot more to tell. A lot of what it took to fight this that was behind closed doors. I think people would be very interested in that.
The story does need to be told, but it needs to be told accurately.
Correct.
There's a lot of things that were uncovered during the course of this trial and this odyssey, and it needs to be told accurately.
I want to ask you about that when we come back,
Sure.
but I wanted to show. I found a bag in the trash. I am from Norfolk County, and I found this bag, Norfolk County District Attorney. It's Michael Morrissey bag.
Da, 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 da. It's the Meatball Morrissey gift bag. Da, 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 da.
I got
And you literally found it in the trash.
I literally found it in the trash, and there's some stuff in here.
I mean, somebody's got taste. Throwing that
Look
away.
at this. It's a Where's Chloe? Where's Chloe?
Everybody loves Chloe. Everybody wants to find out what happened to Chloe. Everybody's
Hey,
worried
look
about
at
Chloe.
this. Look at this, guys.
Those are dangerous.
Those are dangerous. I think this may be
Easy,
contraband in
easy,
Norfolk
easy.
County.
I know they got a bolo out.
This is an indictable offense putting this on the table. I think.
Exactly.
And I stopped by Mass State Police Headquarters in Middlesex County today, and I went to the store, and guess what they have here? This is some
But
fresh from the
are there
factory.
47 pieces? Is the question.
Exactly.
Some of them are big, some of them are small. Hold it.
Well, if there's not 47 pieces of taillight in that bag, don't worry. We know some people that can actually break that into 47 pieces, no problem, because these people are experts in taking a piece of taillight and condensing it down to 47 pieces. So if there's not 47, that could be a
Up for the camera there. It's just they have ships working three shifts a day on this, 24 hours a day, breaking tail light.
I'm sure.
To throw out at the crime scenes. Karen Reed, thank you so much. We'll be back with Alan Jackson, 50% right now.
And markets.
I want to ask you something. Now, this is something. There's been a lot of speculation in social media. Judge Cannoni, who you had problems with. Everyone had problems with her. And she has now transferred from this hallowed county down to Plymouth County in Superior Court. So she is in the same county where the O'Keefe case is going to be heard, where she's the defendant and where she might be the plaintiff in a massive civil rights case. So is there a chance that Beverly Cannoni could grab Karen Reed's case and try to do it again?
I don't think so. Like you said, there's been a lot of speculation.
No, you're correct. No, the answer you want, Alan Jackson, is I sure as hell hope not, but of course not.
On the internet about that. I don't think so. I think that's just happenstance. She's literally in a different courthouse, happens to be in the same county. Judge O'Shea has been assigned to the case for all purposes. Judge O'Shea is the RAJ, the regional administrative justice over that region. So I would imagine that Judge O'Shea, when he took the case and took it for all purposes, that's exactly what that means. And I trust that. So I think we are going to be in Judge O'Shea's court.
So Beverly Cannoni is in Brockton.
She's in Brockton, the city of Brockton.
And in your case is
City
going
of
to
Plymouth.
be in the town of Plymouth.
Town of Plymouth.
So there's no, probably never the twain shall meet.
I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not concerned about it. Nobody on our team is concerned about it. We don't think that's going to happen.
So you've got a whole civil team that's going to be working here now.
Exceptionally talented folks at at the firm, Damon Seligson and Charlie Waters, Chaz Waters, Aaron, the whole team. They're dedicated to this case. They have dug in. They've rolled their sleeves up. I've been thoroughly impressed. They know the case better than I would have ever expected folks to know the case that weren't on it.
That's great news. That's exactly what you want. You want to deal with people that know exactly what they're talking about. This is a large. There's a lot of information here. There's a lot of data, a lot of content. I mean, as much as we followed this case, how many times do you sit there and you say to yourself, gee, I forgot all about this. I forgot all about that. Oh, that's right. Great point. I haven't thought about that in 3 weeks. There's a lot of content here. So it pays to have civil attorneys that are going to know their business.
The last 3 or 4 years, they know the granular details, and I couldn't be happier. Karen's in very, very, very good hands.
You know, since the trial ended, you wrote a scathing letter. It was really well written to the police commissioner of the city of Boston, Michael Cox.
Right.
And you told him that you thought that his officer, Kelly Dever, should be added to the Brady list. Why don't you tell us about that? And if you've gotten any, well, go ahead. Tell us
First of all, can we clear this up so that folks don't think I'm a complete idiot? So, a single consonant following a vowel is a hard vowel. Dever is pronounced dever.
Okay. So, as a basketball fan, I don't watch the WNBA much, but when I do, it's the Indiana Fever that I watch. And fever is spelled F-E-V-E-R. It's not pronounced fever. It's pronounced fever. Fever is how it's said. So Alan Jackson makes a fantastic point here. So in his defense, I'm defending the defense attorney. The guy makes a great point, because if you put the word fever, all right, fever, next to the word Dever, they're both said completely different. They're both said completely different. All right. Right. Someone makes a great point. Fever, Dever, and Beaver. Right there. 2 E's. But he makes a great point. He says it would probably be spelled Dever. Is how you'd spell it. Dever. But hey, I don't know. Who's keeping score? I don't know.
Devver would be Dever. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. When she corrected me and basically knocked me backward on my heels for mispronouncing her name, I did learn English. So the rules of English.
That's your third language.
It's not my third language. No. And I do know what the word theory actually means as well, as does.
Speaking of third languages, the funniest damn thing I've ever heard in my life throughout all of this is when Broken Baker got into it with Plevin, and Plevin attacked Broken Baker, and Broken Baker goes, English is my third language, and I still speak it better than you. Almost fell out of my chair. That was so funny.
Sergeant Buchanan. In any event, Kelly Dever, as she likes to pronounce it, I thought I needed to write that letter for the protection of the public and the protection of other defendants. She should be on the Brady list for the reasons that I put in the letter.
Which is an unreliable witness.
She's an unreliable witness. She admitted one of two things is true. Either she lied or she has a faulty memory, and she has a really hard time with recollecting facts. She has false memories. It's not just a faulty memory. All of us have a faulty memory. She is subject to, as she put it, false memories. How could she reasonably be a police officer going forward with false memories? I mean, she'd be expected to be a professional witness.
Right. I thought that was one of the greatest points that he made throughout that cross-examination on her. At least we're getting some reasonable pictures now. But that's part of the issue, is why in the world, if you have such a bad memory, then how are you a police officer when memory, I mean, how valuable is a memory when you're a cop to be able to recap things, write reports, all this stuff? it was a great way of putting her in a little box and cornering her from both sides and saying, hey, how are you able to validate yourself as whatever when you can't even remember because you have a false memory?
An eyewitness to everything that she does, every arrest that she makes, every piece of evidence that she finds, every piece of evidence that she proffers or presents.
When do you believe she was telling the truth when she spoke to the FBI and said she saw Higgins and Berkowitz for a wildly long time? Or when
100%.
That's
100%. That's exactly what the truth was. There's no way to have a false memory that's concocted to that level of detail. And all I wanted, it's not, I don't know how I became her enemy. She's a police officer. I'm simply a party in a lawsuit that was brought by Michael Morrissey and his folks, a criminal lawsuit. And all I asked her to do was get on the stand and tell the truth. And it turned into an absolute disaster for her.
So, I, like many people, I thought that this was going to be like a routine direct and cross. I didn't think that was going to be the most memorable witness in the entire second trial. I did not. Like, I was just sitting there, whenever we have chances to catch up on these trials, I'm just sitting there like, oh, this is going to be, another routine, whatever, not going to be that interesting. All of a sudden I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is becoming like similar to Jennifer McCabe during the first trial. And Jennifer McCabe was mild in the second trial, behavior-wise, compared to how she was in the first trial. And I did not think that Kelly Dever, pronounced Dever, would in any way, shape, or form react or perform or display herself like that on the stand at all. I did not see that coming.
Not for me, for her. None of the jurors believed her. They all thought that she was completely lying. And one has to, when one's left to speculate as to why she lied. When you couple that,
why would you speculate?
Well, when you couple that with the fact that she was called up to
the commissioner's office,
Commissioner Cox's office, why is
Commissioner Cox, who has no idea about anything he so claimed,
a rookie cop with 8 months on the job at the time at Boston Police Department, called up to the commissioner's office? She probably should not have even met the commissioner for the next 5, 6.
Sure. I mean, why was she meeting with the commissioner?
8 years of her career. There was no reason for that to happen.
Oh yeah, we just have cops in there every so often just to say hello. We have our cops in there just to have donuts and stuff, coffee.
Happen. Then when she starts playing loose and fast and loose with the facts about that meeting, then you couple that with Commissioner Cox acting like he's never even heard her name. I think he said, "I've never said the words Karen Reed. Those words have never been in a sentence." How could that how could that possibly be? At the end of the day, John O'Keefe was one of his officers.
Yeah.
This is one of the highest profile cases where he lost an officer on the lawn of who? Another one of his officers. And the person accused and blamed for that happens to be named Karen Reed. And his answer is, "I've never said those words. I don't know who Karen Reed is. I've never said a sentence with the name
I hate to interrupt them.
Karen Reed in it."
That's the biggest issue. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. That's the biggest issue with all of this, is just the nonsensical comments like, "I've never heard the name Karen Reed before in my life." And it's like, dude, this is what Alan Jackson's saying here. John O'Keefe is a Boston police officer. And anytime a Boston police, I know many people, we all know many people who are cops, okay? When a cop gets killed or dies in the line of duty, it's no different than the fire department. Does anybody remember the Worcester 6? The firefighters in Worcester got killed in a fire in 1999. You ask the fire commissioner in Worcester right now to name all 6 of those guys. He can name it probably just like that. Cops, firefighters, they all know when their people go down. They know their names. They know who they are. And if they were rumored to be killed by somebody, they know who that person's name is. And this is why we question people like Commissioner Cox and raise an eyebrow at Commissioner Cox. Because what the hell? What the hell? You know, you have so many folks out there in this whole thing, all these people throughout all of this. Kelly Dever. Well, I don't know. I don't know why I'm here. No, I don't know. I have a false memory. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I have no clue why I'm here whatsoever. Oh, you mean you're just walking down the street and someone gave you a subpoena and said, hey, can you show up to the Karen Reed trial because the defense wants to call you on the stand? Because you were just out for a walk one day, because you were trying out the new yogurt place, and someone walked up to you with a subpoena and said, hey, we'd like to have you come to court so we can cross-examine you or direct examine you. Would you be interested in that, Kelly? This is not how it works. All these folks, all these people know damn well why they're there. They know exactly what the hell is going on. They all know. They're not going to tell you, oh, I don't know why I talked to Kelly Dever. I've never heard the name Karen Reed before. Who's John O'Keefe again? Get the fuck out of here. Give me a break. Stop it. Nobody's sold on it. Nobody believes it.
And then you have Kelly Dever, who happens to get a subpoena from the defense. And before she's able to testify, she ends up in his office. None of that passes the smell test. None of it.
And then he said at the end of his interview, Commissioner Cox, he said that case is closed. I didn't know that case was closed.
It's far from closed.
Far from closed.
Far from closed in my mind.
There's no one has been convicted of
Correct.
killing a Boston police
Correct.
officer.
John O'Keefe's killer or killers have yet to be
They're still at large.
brought to justice.
Will they ever be?
I'm going to say this. My answer is I don't think that these people will ever go down for this. That's just my, in terms of like, unless it's the feds, and I don't know what the feds are up to. I don't know what their plans are. I don't know what they're ever going to do. I don't know if I'm going to be 20 years older than I am right now. I don't know. But I find it very, I see 0% chance any other authority other than the feds arrest them, 0%. And I probably see no more than a 15% chance that the feds do anything about that. I think I'm being reasonable when I make those percentages.
I fear that given the circumstances of what I've seen here with the Boston Police Department, the Canton Police Department, the MSP, and the powers that be in prosecutorial positions, I fear that is never going to happen.
Yeah, and that's an honest answer.
It's just not going to happen. They have no motive.
And see you.
Monica's in the North End on Richmond.
It's easy as just issuing a subpoena.
Do you think the federal investigation is over?
It's truth.
How about Brian Higgins?
To discuss it then. She ends up in his office. None of I fear that is never going to happen. It's just not going to happen. They have no motivation. They have no urgency.
Yeah,
they would,
right. That's a good point. Urgency is a question here. What is the urgency of the feds? The feds have known about this for a long time, right? I'm not trying to say I doubt the feds, but this has been going on for quite a long time. A lot of us thought they were going to step in and take people down and make arrests before the first trial. Okay. Even Turtle Boy was very confident that the feds were going to step in before that first trial. A lot of us were. 2 trials went by in their entirety. Nothing ever happened. So that tells us one thing. When Alan Jackson says they're not motivated or they're not urgent to do that, that has to raise an eyebrow for all of us. You know what I'm saying? Pray, but don't get your hopes up.
rather sit back on their heels and say, well, the jury got it wrong. She did it. And it's just not true.
Or chase rubber duckies.
Or chase rubber ducks and make people's lives miserable. It's a shame. It's shameful.
A texter, can you ask?
Shows you how powerful the police are, though, doesn't it? I mean, the police could just say, well, let's just pin it on the girl, and worst come to worst, maybe she gets acquitted, but we never go down, and we'll just tamper the crime scene up so much that nothing will ever lead back to us. Because it's a tainted crime scene for Karen. It's a tainted crime scene for anybody else. Those are just the bottom lines. It's a tainted crime scene. It's the same set of evidence, and you have to have proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So it's going to be hard to pin it or get these people to ever go down because the crime scene is full of nonsense. And that's the sad part about all this. It's a sad reality. But like I've always said, the most important thing, if we get one thing, is that Karen Reed never went to prison for this. If we get that one thing, that's my minimum level of satisfaction on all of this. Minimum level of satisfaction is that Karen Reed never goes to prison for a crime that she never committed, because that'll be worse than anything else that could possibly ever happen, including these people that perpetrated this being free for the rest of their life. And like she said, Karen said, these people will suffer consequences one day in this life or another. And I thought that was a very big statement that she made. God is always watching.
Alan, why he thinks John was murdered in the garage.
I've gone through in great detail what I think the theory of the case is. It's in my very lengthy closing argument. I don't want to speculate any further than what the facts show, and the facts indicate what I argued in 2 trials. So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't think this is the forum to discuss that. I think there will be another forum to discuss that, and I'll allow myself the room to discuss it then. We're not finished with the court system, and the court system is going to allow me another opportunity and another platform, and allow Karen another platform to get the truth out, and we damn well intend to do it.
That's right.
That's in the civil case.
Correct.
Yeah.
Wherever it is.
Wherever
Yes.
it is.
Now, I know you'll mainly be going after the state police, but
Really? Don't put words in my mouth, Howie.
Really?
Here to be made sport of.
Howie, we'd like to all thank you. We'd like to all thank you for giving the suggestion to the defense team that it might be a good idea to sue those state police. No, that was a good moment there. Howie was kind of like, yeah, sorry.
But how about some of the now? I know you'll mainly be going after the state police, but
Really? Don't put words in my mouth, Howie.
I didn't come here to be made sport of. But how about some of the individuals that are involved? We can run, the laundry list.
I do.
Know it better than me.
I do. I know the list that you're thinking of, and
let me run down the list. Michael Proctor.
So I'm going to repeat this constantly. Nothing's off the table, and no one's off the table.
Nice.
Yuri
Very
Butonic.
nicely said.
Nothing's off the table.
Nothing's off the table.
So they might be lawyering up even further than they're already lawyered up.
We'll see. We'll see how many lawyers it takes to defend against the righteous truth.
How about Brian Higgins? This is a guy who took his cell phone to the FBI kiosk in, I believe, Chelsea, and had his buddy basically cleanse the phone.
An FBI buddy.
FBI buddy.
Using FBI resources, by the way.
Amazing.
Think about that.
Amazing.
Why didn't you call? That FBI agent?
We thought about it. It is an incredibly difficult task to run through. It's a labyrinthine process to subpoena a federal agent.
Oh.
Incredibly difficult to do.
So same thing applies to Brian Higgins as an ATF agent.
Didn't seem to bother the
They got him on
Norfolk
the stand.
DA's office to call him. They called him first.
Right, that's
in
right.
the first trial, and
Correct.
I had an opportunity to cross-examine him.
Correct.
But if we want to, if a defense wants to subpoena a federal agent, a righteous federal agent, someone who's licensed and deputized, either if the FBI, ATF, whomever, it is a very difficult process,
Wow.
and it's not as easy as just issuing a subpoena.
Wow. That's interesting right there to know that it could be that tough to get a federal agent in the courtroom. That's interesting. Let's see what we got for an ad here. Never bought gold before. Buy gold today. I'm not buying gold today. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll buy gold tomorrow. But that's interesting that that's such an elaborate process, but an ATF agent is not. But what Higgins did was very uncommon for somebody to do at the time he did it, when he did it, where he went, what he was up to. It breeds suspicion and makes you want to ask a lot of questions and get some answers that I think Karen and her defense team are entitled to.
Do you think the federal investigation is over?
I've said this before, and I'll say it again, Howie. I've never heard in my career, ever heard of federal investigators calling the target of an investigation or targets of an investigation and saying, hey, by the way, guys, we've just closed this.
Yeah, big statement there.
Good to go.
Right. That's a great point, because we were hearing a lot of information like, oh, it's over. The state police, the federal investigation's over. It's all over. Everybody can go home now. Don't worry. Everything's great. That's what they try to tell you. But I didn't believe when I heard that news. I'm like, come on. How the heck do they know? You think that when are the Fed? Because here's the thing. When are the feds ever telling anybody when a case is closed? Think about it. How many cases do you think that the FBI investigate all the time? How many cases do you think the FBI have been investigating for 30 to 40 years now or more that are still open cases to this day? They don't close cases. And even if they do, they don't tell anybody. They're not going to say, hey, let's call up the Boston Globe today. Tell them that, that ghost case we were investigating in the Massachusetts Triangle. Tell them we called the Ghostbusters and the Ghostbusters captured that ghost. So just tell the Boston Globe and contact WBZ and NBC 10. Just call everybody and just tell them that the federal investigation into that ghost hunt in the Massachusetts Triangle is over. And just say, hey, it's good. The Ghostbusters got them. Case closed. When do the feds ever tell anybody when a case is closed? Maybe it's occasionally. Boston Marathon bombing, maybe. What's going on, Blair? Maybe they speak then. But they don't officially ever say, yeah, the case is closed. Yeah, case 12,001,700 ZFH double Z triangle cube hashtag was closed yesterday. It involved somebody throwing a rock at a bank window in Hartford, Connecticut. And we just want to let everybody know that we've taken that person into custody for federal crime against the bank. Some dude stole a post office truck to evade police, crashed into a fire hydrant. And we're just going to let everybody know that the case is now closed. The guy's going to jail for 10 years for grand theft auto and vandalizing a federal vehicle. So he's going to go to jail for 10 years. Just want to let the public know that the federal investigation into the stolen postal office truck is now closed. The federal government does not ever tell us anything. We don't know what the hell they're up to. We don't know. So for anybody to say that the Karen Reed case or the John O'Keefe investigation is closed by the feds knows nothing. End of story. Game over. Stop it. Unbelievable. There we go. Yeah, you had a good one. I had caught some of it. I saw James Jackson, Kevy Kev, and JFK were on your show tonight. Did Kevy Kev do the shuffle? That's the most important question. That's what we all want to know about. All right, back to it.
I've never heard of that happening. I can tell you this. I personally, this is all I can say. I personally, and no one on our team, no one, not David, not Bob, no one, ever heard directly from the FBI that this is closed.
No,
or the FBI or the DOJ.
So Eliza, David, Alan, Bob. What's our ad about this time? More gold purchases. Okay. Have never heard. I did not catch the dance off. Somebody needs to clip that and post that on Twitter. That must have been awesome. That must have been a moment in time right there, Blair. But no, none of the attorneys heard about it.
That this federal investigation was closed. So my answer is, unless and until that were to happen, no, I don't believe that.
It was announced, I think,
closed.
by Helena Rafferty after she hit the old guy in the crosswalk at dusk.
Right. There's motives on the other side's part to want this investigation to be closed and to have that sort of out in the ether.
Yeah.
But anything that's closed can be reopened, even if it were closed. So who cares?
I want to ask you about something.
So that's a great final point on that subject matter by Alan Jackson is this guy's trying to sell us gold again in this ad. Stop it. At least we moved on from the banana pictures and the poison ivy pictures we saw earlier on Rumble. Moving on in life. But yeah, that he makes a great point. It can always be reopened. A case can always be reopened. How many times are murder investigations closed? And then 20, 30 years down the road, they end up solving a crime or arresting somebody that apparently committed I think it happened. Didn't it happen a couple months or a year ago where somebody was arrested for a crime in like the 80s or early 90s? It happens. So it's never closed. Stop it.
That just bugs me a little bit. This guy, Gregory Long, he was the superintendent in chief of
Right.
the Boston Police Department. He was a neighbor of John O'Keefe.
Oh, I forgot to say, I haven't said it in a while. Mike from the Young Jerks, his defense fund is pinned to the top of the chat, and Turtle Boy Aiden Carney's defense fund is also pinned to the top of the chat. If you guys have an opportunity to make a donation to them, please do, to help them and their respective defense funds. Thank you.
And Brian Albert
From Canton.
Yeah, from Canton.
Right.
He lived in Canton.
Right.
And like when Karen Reed was arrested, he put out a press release and he said they have the Norfolk DA's office and the state police have apprehended the killer of
Right.
John O'Keefe. None of this. She has been charged. Or none of the the boilerplate at the bottom, like
Right.
guilty and innocent until proven guilty. He just put out a statement like that.
Yeah, that was shameful. He should be ashamed of himself. That was disturbing. It was troubling. It was upsetting. It was disgraceful for his office. He knows better. Everybody in his office knows better. She is cloaked in the presumption of innocence, as we all are. When an arrest is made, when allegations are made, she's cloaked in an unremovable presumption of innocence, unless and until the Commonwealth puts to bed that issue by a trial with a jury verdict or a court verdict.
Right. And that's the issue here. It's, like I question the JFK assassination. Okay. I truly, I'll say this. I truly don't believe Lee Harvey Oswald killed John F. Kennedy. That's my personal opinion. I truly don't believe that happened. I truly believe it was a CIA job or some kind of government job to take out the president so they could basically get him out of there because they wanted to run a country a certain way, especially with Vietnam, etc. And when you just look at the facts of the JFK assassination, why didn't they shoot? Why didn't they shoot at Kennedy out of the book depository building when he was coming up the other street up Houston instead of waiting for him to go all the way down? Towards the grassy knoll, which would have been a harder shot. How did he squeeze off that many shots with a bolt action rifle when it takes too long to cycle plus re-aim the rifle? It's almost impossible. So if Lee Harvey Oswald was involved, well, then he didn't act alone. That's my thoughts. But, to that point, they were just going out and saying immediately that day, well, that's the killer. It's Lee Harvey Oswald. He did it. He killed John F. Kennedy. This is him. This is the guy. And then Jack Ruby finished the job, because they didn't like the fact that Lee Harvey Oswald was speaking out to the press and saying that he was just a patsy. And so Jack Ruby went out and blasted him when they were walking him out in cuffs. And they walk him right out in handcuffs. He's right in the front. All the cops are behind him. And then, boom, he gets clipped and he gets killed. Tell me that wasn't done on purpose. I hate to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm not always a conspiracy theorist. When it comes to the JFK assassination, I've always been a conspiracy theorist about that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist about a lot of things, but I am in that particular sense. I'm saying it wasn't a lone gunman, Glenn Lake. That is correct. That is correct. I have no evidence to prove or disprove that Lee Harvey Oswald did it, but I do think that I will say this, more than one shooter was definitely involved, considering the amount of bullets that were fired and the time frame that were fired, and given the difficulty of firing a rifle from that distance, that's bolt action. That's just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. But the point is that they immediately just knew it was Lee Harvey Oswald. And then he gets popped not too long after that. And then that's it. And it's the same thing with Karen Reed. They're immediately from the word go, it's Karen. Karen did it. Karen did it. It's her. Karen did it. Karen's the killer. That was the whole game from the beginning. They were always going to say it was Karen. No question about it. And to me, that always just breeds suspicion. Why are you guys so eager to say she's the killer? Why is Michael Morrissey, the DA, defending someone publicly involved as a witness in this case? It needs to stop. When does the DA ever do that? These are just situations that are extremely uncommon. We don't see these in other cases. We don't see things like this ever happen in other cases. But in this particular case, it did. In the Karen Reed case, it did. A journalist who was reporting about the Karen Reed case was taken to jail in handcuffs today and is going to be in jail for 60 days. You ever hear any other stories about a journalist getting arrested for 60 days for reporting on a story that's allegedly a cover-up and a frame job? Could it be that because it truly is a cover-up and a frame job that they're hauling Aidan Carney off to jail? It's insane, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely insane. It truly is. It truly is. But look at all the crazy stuff that's happened here. This is not a normal situation. It never has been. It never will be.
There is there's no excuse for leveling that claim or making that statement in public. All that did was turn the public against an innocent woman.
Yeah.
It was despicable.
We'll be back with a.
Quite frankly, I think he owes her an apology.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, he's by the way, his wife is a judge, and she serves with Judge Cannoni.
I did not know that.
It's the hacker-ram, as we say in Norfolk County. 844-500-4242. We'll be right back with a few final thoughts from Alan.
Look at that. Our money went to the
Regular extract pay for your free pharmacy. Mass corruption out very shortly. It's as we leave.
Feels like already.
Probably not going to be. You're not going to be doing more interviews for a while. What do you want to say?
What I said when I came out of the courthouse after the acquittal is just thank you to just so many people. It feels like already a short lifetime ago, but it's only been 2 months. But the support, even Howie of not even, but
what I like for Karen is the time frame. What's this about now? Blurry vision and eyesight ad. Okay, we're gonna make fun of the ads all night. It's that summertime hit. It was right about summertime when this thing all ended. Her and her family got to enjoy like the peak of the summer right after the trial, which was awesome time.
from you and this station, and having the guts to report on what was actually happening, and not worried about any kind of retribution or political loyalties in this state and in this county. That people, a lot of women, children, and men, courageous enough to be very vocal about how they felt about this, and that's how things are going to change. They need to vote, and they need to worry about their community and their families and children, grandchildren, generations to come. That and I think things will change, but
that's a big statement too about the voting. I think that voting in our, I'm not talking about like presidents necessarily or governors necessarily or senators, but more so like state representatives, people that represent your districts, kind of like the lower half of politicians. Sometimes I think we all kind of aren't, like, a lot of people ask them about the president, Biden, Trump, people have opinion. You talk about the governor, Maura Healey, or some other governor, people have an opinion. That's almost immediate. Senators, maybe not, but those lower level politicians a lot of times are the difference makers. You look at the select board in Canton, and just what happened there with the way they've turned over a lot of seats. It's just that low level political, level where voting is huge, and that a lot of people sit in these seats for a long time that are a detriment to your town, perhaps. That need to be removed, and the best way to remove them is oftentimes not through impeachment but through election. You know what I mean? So I think that's huge.
Emotionally, these people, journalists and supporters, community members, have emotionally pulled me through, and my family and the lawyers too, I think.
You want to say anything to District Attorney Morrissey and the state police?
You lost.
I like it.
You lost big time.
You lost big time.
You want to say anything to District Attorney Morrissey and the state police?
You lost. You lost big time too, I think.
You want to say anything to District Attorney Morrissey and the state police?
You lost. You lost big time.
How good does it feel to hear her say that? We haven't really heard from her since, her last time she spoke outside the courthouse, just hearing her say that, having that level of ability to say that with confidence that she'll never serve a day in prison is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. Let's play it one more time. Let's play it a fourth time.
You want to say anything to District Attorney Morrissey and the state police?
You lost. You lost big time. And you know what you did. You know what you've done.
Yeah.
Alan?
The thing that nobody thinks about in a journey like this is the energy that it takes to get up every day. That what she's had to go through every day from that day in January, when she was arrested early February until this day. Every single day she has to get up and have the spine, the intestinal fortitude to get up and
Great song, by the way, Glenn. Like, great song.
And fight a fight. It is incredibly taxing, right? Nobody's feeling sorry for us. We don't ask anybody to feel sorry for us. It takes energy. It takes gumption.
Yeah.
It takes focus. It takes drive. We would not have had that drive and that energy and that focus and that determination had it not been for the support of the community members. We were able to do what we did. We were able to fight the fight that needed to be fought because of the community members, as well as folks like you, making sure that the community was invested in what was actually happening, that they had the right information, that they had a place that they could go to get the correct information, because misinformation was running afoot.
Anti-Karen Reed people. Anti-Karen Reed people. What's going on? Adam, what's going on, man? How you doing? The anti-Karen Reed people were constantly throwing out misinformation out there and claiming we had misinformation and attempting to call us. Like they would say people like myself, the Glare, Melanie Little, Nurse Kim, Aiden Carney, Mike Crawford, Brian LTL, all those people were paid PR. I honestly can share with you. I don't think they were, but I know I wasn't. Okay. The LV cops, I might have said Melanie Little. I'm not sure if I said that, but Melanie Little, they thought we were all like going on here and we were paid PR. We were not. This was all just, for a lot of us, this was just, I've heard that. I think the Glare is still with us in the chat. The Glare said it himself. He just happened to come across the story one day and started covering it. It was the same thing with me. I just came across the story one day and started covering it. And I was a guy doing a sports show for years that just got involved. And it's the same thing with everybody. Boots on the ground, people holding picket signs, standouts, all that stuff. People got involved. People got involved, and just took over. And this was a situation based on money, which means raising money for Karen Reed's defense fund that was totally necessary and completely paid chatter. That's why I said the word paid, because I saw that comment, Glenn. It threw me off. But yeah, it was a huge, it was a PR campaign. Well, it was a word of mouth matter, which is educating the public on what's going on. So yeah, of course, but it's all's fair in love and war. Think about this. When Karen Reed was in handcuffs and on WBZ the day she first got arrested and taken to district, I think it was district court, if I'm not mistaken. Well, was that not publicity for the defense? For the prosecution? Was that not publicity for everybody that said Karen Reed did it? Karen Reed was arrested today and taken into court in handcuffs, and she was represented by attorney David Yannetti, where she had to answer to being accused of a crime of murdering boyfriend police officer John O'Keefe. That's not a public narrative. That's not people arresting Karen Reed and throwing her all over television, calling her a killer and saying she did it. Yeah, she did it. It was her. That's not a public narrative. Karen Reed and her defense team had no choice whatsoever to start talking to the public, to start talking to Aiden Carney, to start talking to whoever it was that they talked to start associating themselves or endearing themselves or communicating or speaking to in public and thanking their supporters. They had no choice but to make it a public narrative. And people just kind of ran with it. Aiden once said, this thing took a life of its own. Aiden even said, when I went to jail, he said when he went to jail, that this thing still kept going while he was in jail. It was a powerful force. It was, because people believed that this woman was being framed, that John O'Keefe's murder was a cover-up. And there was no question about it. And the defense did the right thing to raise public awareness. So people like all of us would participate in all of this. And like I said on Twitter yesterday, and I'll say it again, we should all be damn proud of ourselves about what we all did. I don't care how big or how small your level of country. I don't care if the only thing you did was had a free Karen Reed sign from Erica Madden's Star Driving on your front lawn, which was an amazing sign. And I wish I had one of those. I don't care if it was just a simple sign that was awesomely made on your front lawn and you never showed up to a standout, you never donated $1. I don't care if you just had a sign you made homemade that said free Karen Reed. I think every little contribution was amazing. And I thought that the signs that Erica Madden had were phenomenal because I used to drive around and see them all over the place, which was awesome. And it was a great idea. Put signs up. Put signs up on your front lawn. And that was the one thing you did. If standing out every week was the one thing you did, if simply just donating money was the one thing you did, if simply just sharing links all the time and spreading the news on your social media was the one thing you did, whatever your one thing was, it was more than enough, and it was absolutely outstanding what you did. It took every single one of us to get this job done. And Aidan Carney, of course, was the absolute captain of this whole effort. Went to jail for 60 days over this to popularize this story. So it was an amazing effort, and we all did a great job. And we should all be forever grateful for the job that we did and the contributions we've made to all of this. And I know Karen and Alan did not give individual shout outs today. I understand it, and all that, but I'm sure that they're forever grateful to everything we all did and how we participated and how we contributed. And I know the Glare, I'm not sure if he's still here or he left, but he always said it on himself. He goes, I've never been a part of something like this. And I think we can all say we've never been a part of something like this, right? How many people have ever been to court before and wore pink shirts and screamed and yelled at the top of your lungs because of a verdict coming through? I know I've never done that. But it was an amazing thing. Yes, let's pray for the victims, the families in Minnesota, for the terrible shooting that took place there as well. No question about that. No question. But yeah, it was a great effort. And everybody from top to bottom, I don't care what bottom is. I don't care, like I said. I don't care if one day you just yelled free Karen Reed outside your front door and that was it. Everybody did a great job. Everybody did a great job. And like I said, my show was a lot of fundraisers, but my fundraisers don't work unless there's hundreds of people in the chat that are donating money to those fundraisers and are saying, yay, we hit $5,000 today. It's the people that donated the money that got the $5,000. I ran a show, what they do, but, the people that donate the money are the ones that are taking the hard-earned money and donating it to Karen Reed's defense fund to make sure she can afford to defend herself, which is absolutely huge. And some people say to me sometimes, man, you don't really ever seem to get too excited when you get the money in during your fundraisers. I said, well, really the people that donated the money, though. I mean, I didn't, I don't know how many of my fundraisers. I donated a couple times during my own fundraisers or other ones. I donated usually, I think on a monthly basis, I would donate money casually to Karen on her fund, but, here and there, but buy popcorn, I did. But, it's so many other people donated to my defense fund. And I just thought, that's great. 5,000, that's awesome, And LTL, of course, LTL had a lot of great fundraisers. Me and him did a lot of times back-to-back fundraisers, the Glares fundraisers, the Young Jerks fundraisers, everybody's fundraisers were phenomenal. Nurse Kim did a Christmas fundraiser last year that was absolutely phenomenal. I had about 8 guests. I think Calling All Beings did a bunch of fundraisers too. It was a great thing. It was a great moment in time, and we did our job. And I think that's what it's all about, is everybody contributing. Karen Reed and her defense team, they know they're thankful for our contributions, and everybody did it, from Karen Reed to her defense team to whatever. It was from the Roccos, Nick and Jenna Rocco, what they did, getting that fundraiser promoted, raffling all the time, getting that kind of stuff out there, getting Patriot tickets awarded to people or things people were donated. Erica Madden and the Star Driving, all the time she had craft fairs that brought in money for Karen. I remember being down there last December, buying some items. I decided to start doing some Christmas shopping. bought a few things for some people while I was there. Yeah, and I would just give like some extra money to the people, because I think a lot of them were doing 50-50. So I say, here's an extra $20. I'll pay for the item, plus I'll give you 20 more, $10 more for you, $10 more for Karen. And some of them just said, I'll donate the extra 20 to Karen. They didn't even want to have the extra 10 for themselves, which was amazing, which was amazing. But that was the generosity of people. And a lot of people had supported Karen that we don't even mention or know because we forgot or we never met them. There's hundreds of thousands of people involved in this thing, over $1 million. And that's not Karen's Venmo. That's not Karen's other streams of money, but that was her, big thing. But it was huge. It was a great thing. But collaboratively from Karen Reed down to any person that just simply did the most simple of things. And I don't mean simple in a bad way. It was huge. It was absolutely huge. No question about it.
Just ask you about that Channel 4 story. The Channel 4 reported, I think the day after, that the cops had Ring camera
Correct.
video.
Yes, they did.
A total lie.
Yes.
And they never retracted it.
Yeah.
For 2 years. What do you think,
Yeah.
that,
Well,
Karen?
what I think is that is what they were actually told.
That's right though. That's they must have actually had it. They're like, oh no, get that footage out of there. They probably asked somebody, do you have footage? Is there any footage? Oh yeah, there's I have a Ring camera. That's a mystery, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't think the error was on Channel 4's behalf. It was what they were told at the scene.
Yeah, they didn't
And
make
I
it
think
up.
I think it existed. We made a motion in court for Brian Albert's Ring camera. We believe he had some brand of surveillance at his house, and we know there was one across the street. So yeah, I think it actually existed.
What cop or cops don't have some level of surveillance footage or Ring footage on their property? Come on.
It ceases to exist probably now, but
But they said it showed you hitting
right.
John O'Keefe.
They had me buried.
Which
for a while.
was the abject lie.
Pin it on the girl.
Pin it on the girl. Right. And anybody that said that knew it was a lie.
Right.
Knew it was completely unproven.
Yeah.
Because it didn't happen. As we established unequivocally through 2 trials, there was no collision.
Alan, when will I see you in court?
The 22nd of September.
That's the other case.
That's the other case.
Thank you, guys. I'm Howie Carr. Children are a gift from God, and every day, thousands of women.
All right, let's see if there's any more. I think that's it. He greets them off air or something like that. I think that's it. Yeah, so that's it for that. So, hey, that was a heck of an interview there. I definitely would have, it would have been great to see Turtle Boy there. I don't have I'm not taking a position that's like, mad at Howie, but or mad at Karen or Al. I'm not like that at all. I just think it would be nice. It would have been nice to see Aiden on that show as well, just to have them all together. But that studio or whatever the agreement was made. That's that. But I thought the interview was very good. I thought it was a great interview. At least I enjoyed Karen and Alan Jackson. I thought Howie asked some solid questions as well there. Some people think not so good questions, but that's their thought. But that's okay. Everyone has varying opinions, and they're entitled to it. No problem at all. But I enjoyed the interview. I thought it was very good. But like I said, it would be interesting one day to maybe see Karen and Aiden in an interview together and talking about kind of the Karen Reed's initial and then Aiden's joining and kind of how he powered the movement, powered it into a movement, really. I know many people like myself and others have seen first heard about this through Aiden. Even though I probably saw it in the news one day, I actually first heard about it through Aiden. So it would have been nice. But like I said, I'll take no position on that other than to just say it would have been nice to see him. But if that's not what the arrangement that they had on Howie Carr's show, then that's how it goes, I guess. But other than that, I enjoyed the interview. It was great to see Karen. It was great to see Attorney Alan Jackson again. It was a great interview. I'm looking forward to their civil cases and their civil suits. And then hopefully they can stave off this other one that's incoming from whose family, the O'Keefes. But the Ring footage just sticks in my mind to this day. If there obviously was Ring footage and that thing was just tampered with or culled out or destroyed or tampered with or whatever it was removed and just never allowed to see the light of day. And that was really how it all went. So that is that. So I plan on being live again over the weekend at some point. We will see. maybe Friday, maybe tomorrow, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. I don't know. You know me. I never really have a planned day where I'm going to do a show. A lot of times I'm just like tonight, I had literally all night, no plans to do a show. I was sitting there. I'm like, it was like 10 minutes to go in the Young Jerks. And I'm like, I think I'll do a show tonight. So that's pretty much how tonight's show happened. I just randomly decided I'll do a show for 2 hours. Why not? So it was a quiet night. So I didn't feel like working out today. I had martial arts last night, lifted the day before that. So it was like 2 days in a row of physical activity. I was just like, I'm going to relax today. Then all of a sudden I kind of had dinner. And I was like, let's do a show. Let's talk about the Howie Carr interview and all that. So maybe we'll talk about Proctor this weekend, and we'll probably talk more about Elizabeth Banks in the movie that they're working on, and probably talk more about this interview as well over the weekend. I don't know when it's going to be, though. I don't know. I might do it tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, Saturday or Sunday. I don't know. I'm working on a guest. There's a guest that I'm going to be reaching back out to tomorrow. There's a guest that will be on this show at some point in the next week or two that I am working on. Very big guest. So I'm working on that. I'm just going to narrow down the time. We'll see what we can end up doing. But I hope for the best for Karen. Like I said, the worst of this is over for Karen Reed now. Now it's about just these civil battles now and going in that direction. But it's going to be some big wins for Karen coming up, and the biggest win she'll ever get is not being convicted. But the bigger wins in terms of prize and cash, in terms of millions of dollars, is huge for her. So looking forward to Karen Reed and her victories to come. Pray for her, pray for her family, pray for her defense team, pray for all you, pray for myself as well. That all goes well for everybody. And that things continue on for Aiden. Hope things go great for Aiden. He's got Tim Bradle and Mark Betterow in his backing him, I should say, as his attorneys. Mike Crawford still fighting his way through some suits as well. His defense fund is pinned to the top of the chat. Aiden Carney, Turtle Boys defense fund is pinned at the top of the chat. Please make a donation to them. Help them out in any way, shape, or form that you possibly can to assist them. And that'll be fantastic. I think one of the great things about life is having people's backs and supporting them. And I think that's really been what's so great about all the Karen Reed and Turtle Boy supporters is financially protecting and backing up people so they can defend themselves against injustice, and when the powers that be pig pile up upon them and try to bring them down. So all that, ladies and gentlemen, and more probably this weekend. I'll announce the show at some point. Probably like 10 minutes before I go live. I'll just be like, yeah, I'm live in 10 minutes. But I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for your contributions in the chat for the show tonight. We enjoyed watching Howie Carr's show, and we'll probably see a couple other shows, review it this weekend as well. It should be a good time. So watch all those shows and have a great weekend, guys. Have a great Labor Day. Hopefully, you guys all have the weekend off, and have a great time, barbecue or something as well, and enjoy the weather. It's going to be in the 70s here in Massachusetts all weekend long. I think some rain tomorrow and then sunny all weekend, and the Labor Day, which will be good. So, guys, thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel as well. I love the subscribers. Plus, you get notifications potentially if you enroll in them when I go live next time around. So, guys, thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Love you guys. I was happy to be back live again tonight. And I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I can't say free Karen Reed, but I can say free Turtle Boy. I can also say Karen Reed is free. And thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. God bless everybody. From MazzaMedia, I am Mark. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.